I wonder where the, slogan "Make America Great Again" really came from. And I wonder why in 2025 being poor is probably pretty normal. I shout out to Large Man Abroad. Go subscribe to his channel. I watched quite a few of his videos, so let's just get right into it, man. Without further
It's
ado,
2025 and everyone's poor. In America, everyone's poor. And it's normal now. And that was the point. The average person in America is simply getting left behind. The work culture is changing. It's been bad for a long time, but it's just getting worse. There's no real incentive anymore. There's just expectation. And the expectation is that you need to work between 60 and 80 hours a week, essentially.
if you guys can, do me a favor. Please let me know if you know how many hours a week you work on average. I know some weeks you may work more than others, but on average, how many hours a week do you work? And do you feel like the hours a week that you do work, do you feel like it's worth it? Please let me know.
It's normal now to work 2 full-time jobs. To work 80 hours a week 10, 20 years ago would have been lunacy. You'd be called a workaholic. It was a negative thing.
Damn, bro, that's actually a really good point. Even as far back as like 2010, like you would be a workaholic. You'd be called a workaholic if you worked 80 hours a week in 2010. Now, the question is when did this shit really start happening? Probably the late 2010s. I feel like things started to shift, but really, I don't even think so. I really think this shit didn't really start happening like where it got like bad till about the 2020s. Pretty much COVID and beyond.
Now it's normal. It's expected. In fact, if you work less than 80 hours a week, there's probably something wrong with you. You're just not being productive. At what point in the work culture has this become normal? This has become normal because being poor has become normal.
And on top of that, it's just the unfortunate reality is most people are going to have to trade their time for money. And the way wages are right now, only way to really make more money is to put in more hours. Granted, I get it. Most people are not entrepreneurial minded or really even have the capacity to do that. So I get it, and I feel for the average working man. But man, it's just like it's messed up because they could print all this goddamn money, but they can't raise a fucking wage. It's ridiculous. I can't really relate because I'm not. I don't really technically trade my time for money. I haven't worked a 9 to 5 since, bro, at least 6 years, 7 years. So I feel it though.
There are more Americans now living in poverty. There's more child poverty now than there's probably been since the Great Depression. It's a normal thing in America now. America is falling behind and its people have been left behind. In the managerial class, the bureaucratic class, they're just completely out of touch with Americans. I recently read an article on USA Today, and they're saying it's starting to look bad for poor Americans. But the fact is, who are the poor Americans? Because it's a majority now. The middle class has been erased. All you have now is upper middle class, upper middle class, and upper class, and the poors, the thrifts, people like us. And though we can look at inflation rates, we can look at wages have gone up slightly, but we are still feeling the great impacts of what we've seen happen over the past 4 and 5 years. With the rapid, obscene printing of money, we've seen the devaluation of the US dollar to the point where America has essentially lost its position as global economic.
100%. It really lost its position once they got off the gold standards back in the 70s or whatnot. I saw this graph of like inflation or whatnot, and really everything just really fucking took off as soon as the dollar wasn't backed by gold. So
Like hegemon. The BRICS countries are coming up. They are the rising power. What's America gonna do? Because with lack of policy, we'll see what the tariffs are going to do.
And honestly, bro, like, sorry to pause video so much, but who the fuck really thinks that America's the greatest country on earth? I think in 2025, most Americans are hip to be like, yeah, and even like 10 to 15 years ago, people would still think, Americans still had the belief probably that America was the greatest country on earth. Now, I mean, I think it's a minority of people who believe that now.
Long run, I hope the tariffs work. I hope they do something. because something is better than nothing. Because nothing means that they keep spending, they keep using, they keep abusing the population to get what they need to push their agenda, while at the same time burying us in a position where people need to take debt just to meet the cost of living. Because the average household income now,
and honestly, I would, when they say the elites and all that stuff, I wonder how many people are in the elite class, elite politicians, whatnot, who's really running the show, I guess. How many people does that comprise of? And at the expense of how many of the general population, right? So, I like Large Man Abroad, man. He's definitely dope. I like his channel a lot.
This is like Kentucky. Average
and the crazy thing is I'm not even subscribed to him, but his channel pops up on my feed all the time, and I just watch all of his videos. So
the income doesn't meet the cost of living. So for all those people out there that say the solution is to move to the rural areas, that may be the case. You may be able to find a cheaper home, but the fact is there's not going to be any jobs there. I spent 8 or 9 years in West Virginia. I love West Virginia. It's a beautiful place.
Hopefully you're not racist like the West Virginians too, but West Virginia is probably the lowest cost of living state in the United States. So
reality is poverty there is crippling. Yes, you can buy a home for cheap, but guess what? Good luck finding a job where you can meet those mortgage payments on the wages that you'll be receiving, because not everybody wants to be a coal miner. And you're like, well, you just have to do what you have to do. You're lazy. If you think it's normal that you need to work in a coal mine to make ends meet, you have gone back 100, 200 years in thinking.
Thanks.
We're supposed to be moving past that. Our society, our civilization with technology, we are supposed to be moving in a direction that makes life easier. When we talk about AI, when we talk about the automation of the service industry, the great fear is that people are going to be left out to the side. People are going to be left out on their own, unable to find jobs. The hope and dream of a universal basic income for many people in lieu of the positions that have been taken over by AI is it's a pipe dream. America's not going to give that kind of stuff out for free. And you may say, well, during 2019, 2020, we saw stimulus checks. Why not have something like that? Haven't we seen the consequence of the stimulus checks, the consequence of the government printing money to try to hold up the economy, to hold up people's lives? The sad reality is that the government will never be able to pay for everyone to live. Mm-hmm. And there doesn't seem to be a way out for most people now. Someone in the comments said that America is the best place to go and make money, but it's the worst place to be left behind. And I can see that. And a woman you may say,
America's the best place to make money only under the preference that you're actually starting your own business. If you're just, if it's not the entrepreneur route, then no, I don't think. I mean, obviously not. It's only there where America's the best place to make money, because with that as well, you really, one of the biggest wealth killers with people who aren't aware is taxes. And guess who gets taxed the most? Working class people. Because, and here's why. The government's gonna ultimately, I guess, how do you say this? I guess benefit, the business owners. They're the one taking risks, and they're the ones actually creating new jobs and taking on that risk. And they're not gonna benefit the working class person, because it's very little risk that they're taking on. So what I mean by in benefits, what I mean with that is tax benefits. There's a lot of loopholes and write-offs where people who are making a lot more money can actually pay a lot less in taxes. That was just a little side note.
You're poor in a golden cage. The golden cage isn't what you think it is. America has become a serfdom. If you don't pay your bills, if you don't pay your mortgage, if you don't pay your taxes, you're going to go to prison or you're going to be homeless. That's the way that it is. And the fact is, the cost of living has gone up to the point where people aren't being able to make that ends meet without 60 or 80 hours being worked a week.
That's crazy.
You can say, well, unemployment's the lowest it's ever been. Yes, because that's because everyone's being pressed. That's because the labor market is being squeezed for everything that it's worth. People can't work more than 60, 80 hours a week. And what happens when cost of living goes up so much that 60 to 80 hours a week won't cut it? What are people going to do then? If you think that America is an unsafe place now, I fear for what it becomes when the cost of living passes the threshold of individual ability to earn income, because we're almost there. And I feel like this isn't a fear-mongering thing. This isn't doom posting. This is just reality. And we need to understand that.
And I thank you. I'm tired of people saying just because something sounds like reality in that dream world doesn't mean it's doom and gloom. It's just the truth. And at the end of the day, if we're going to be honest, if we're going to take a look in the mirror, I mean, reality is a hard pill to swallow, man. If we really, really think about it, like at the end of the day, we're all coping in one way or another. We're just trying to get through. And it's going to be like that till the day we meet our maker. If there is one. So, yeah.
Of poverty, the normalization of being poor, the normalization of working 60 to 80 hours a week should be a massive red flag. And the attention to that red flag shouldn't only be paid by those who are being affected by it, because soon we all will. If the middle class has been erased, then you have a large segment of the population, the vast majority of the population that exists within the working class now. And if the working class is being driven into ruin, this is going to spell horrible effects for everyone in America. Because you can't just import people left and right. That's not going to be the solution. You can't just call people lazy. That's not going to be the solution. You can't normalize desperation. Not in this country. Because you may have a comparison and say, still to be poor in America is much better than being poor in so-and-so country. But individual expectation, what we expect our lives to be in the contract that we've agreed upon with our corporations, with our government, a failure to meet that also comes with consequences.
You know, and that is a great point. I never really thought about that, because at the end of the day, we do have that mental expectation just being placed upon us because we're in America, and most people aren't able to actually live up to that expectation in their mind. And the thing is, with other countries, yes, they may be poor countries, less opportunities, but that's all they know, and they don't really expect more than that. Thing is, people's expectations in America is pretty high. Let's be real, guys. How I know this is true is this whole country is ran on debt and credit. So people want the nice car. People want the nice XYZ. You know what I'm saying? But most people can't afford it. Most people are in debt up to their eyeballs. Because the expectation, this is the American dream, but they can't, their actual dollars they're making can't afford that lifestyle. So that's why they have to finance it. That's America. Let that sink in.
I think for a long time, Americans have kind of sat by and watched their country go to ruin. We've sat by and watched our money get devalued into nothing. And as long as we've had some semblance of comfort to tell us that, hey, we're okay, and no one has actually stood up, no one has actually said anything, but that's coming to an end now. Look at the faces of the people around you. Look at the faces of people who are going to work in the morning in America. A 12-hour shift, a 13-hour shift a day is not normal. To wake up, to shower, to go to work, to come home, maybe have some dinner, and then to go to bed, this is not normal, and it's not sustainable in America. It is wrong. This is wrong. That's not what this country is meant to be. It's not what this country is supposed to be. That is not what millions, is not what hundreds of millions, billions of people over the generations have sacrificed for us to become. Because the reality of this moment now, America has become nothing more than a farm for the wealthiest people, the managerial class, and corporations to abuse and squeeze the wealth from. Because it's not coming back to America. There's no inheritance now. Our children, if we have children, what do they get? The future of them.
I'm glad he did preface that if. Because, yeah, that's down the drain, too.
America is bleak. Ask anyone. There's no one here that says the next 10, the next 20 years, America is going to be in a better place. Because we've not seen any change that would say that. There is something dark on the horizon in America that I think everyone kind of senses, but we don't know what it is. Some people think that's going to be World War III. Some people think it's going to be economic crash. Some people say it's going to be an internal war. And honestly, I can't say. I lean more in the direction, because all three are completely plausible at this point. But what I can say that America will probably do what it does best. When it looks like the economy is going bad, we start a conflict with someone else. I mean, that's how we drive our economy now. Military-industrial complex goes into work. Sentiments of patriotism start flying around. People start joining the military to fight for a cause that is obviously going to be a lie. There's no great evil for America to fight right now. There's no 1930s Germany for America to fight right now. The enemies of the American people are within America. And at some point, the ability for Americans to work.
Hold up.
There's no 1930s Germany for America to fight right now. The enemies of the American people are within America. And at some point, the ability for Americans to work so much just to survive in America, eventually that's going to be gone. Lately, all over YouTube, people talk about how the American dream has been lost. American dream hasn't been lost, it's been downsized. They say that you should downsize to make life easier, but how far can you downsize?
Man, the American dream's been microized, bro. You talking about a minimalist? It's a microlist. That's what the American dream. It's been down to the micro size. You will own nothing and you will be happy.
It's not normal for people to live in vans. This isn't a normal thing. It's not normal for 40-year-old men, 50-year-old men to have 3 or 4 roommates to pay off a mortgage. It's not normal for people not to be able to buy a home. It's not normal for people not to be able to start a family. It's not normal for people not to be able to buy healthy food. It's not normal, but they've made it normal. But out of necessity, it's been normalized. Poverty in America has been normalized. You being poor is the new normal. And they say, shame on you if you're not working 80 hours a week. So what can we do? What can we do as normal Americans? I mean, other than watch out for ourselves, create smaller communities, have each other's back. But the thing is, that's been destroyed in America. The sentiment of community, the idea of community has been destroyed. People don't have each other's back anymore.
Yeah.
How many of you watching this video now actually know your neighbor? How can you have community? How can you expect anyone to have your back outside of your family, if the family even exists anymore, if you can't even remember anyone's name? Because you don't have time, because you're working 80 hours a week. So how are you going to know your neighbors? How are you going to have time to have barbecues with your friends? Or even at the most basic level, hop on the sticks and play some multiplayer with your friends? You don't have that either. You don't have anything, and they told us this is what it was going to be. You will have nothing, and you will be happy.
There we go.
And that's the reality that we're in now. That time has come, and if it isn't come, it's rapidly approaching. And I don't know what that means for us. I just know that it's not good. I am a normal person. I am a family man. I have to think about the future. I can't just think about the self. And this country is moving in a very dark direction, and it's left us behind. It's not leaving us behind. It's left us behind. And I hate to say, you should just cut and run and you should find another place, because that's a hard thing to do. I don't think the answer is to just move into the rural places, to move into the woods, because that's not sustainable for everybody. America is nothing if the people don't exist in a cohesive society where we believe in each other. We are paranoid now. We look at other people. We look at our countrymen with hostility. We don't look at them like they are our countrymen anymore. What can we do? What's the next move? Because the vast majority of us at this moment right now, we have to kind of sit on the sidelines and do what we have to do to survive and to see what's the next step. We don't have an impact on the macro events. That's for people way above us, and that's what we need to understand. Most of us are going to live our lives, and they're going to be lives of no consequence to the greater society, no consequence to the great story of America and the direction with which we go next. We just have to sit and wait and hope that we can survive. And this has been the serf's position throughout history. We are now slaves of consequence. The control of individual destiny is slipping through our fingers, and I don't know how we can get it again. I don't know what the next move is. But I can say in the social contract, if a nation state has failed to protect and provide for you or to give you security, then you have no obligation to serve that same nation state. That social contract has been broken and it's failed. We have to look out for ourselves. And I hate to say that, because I believe that a nation doesn't exist without community. A nation doesn't exist without common unity between its people. But for what's coming next, I think that there's no other way. So I guess that's it. I guess we all just have to make a plan and hope that it goes well, because that's the position that we're in now. So make your plans, and if you can, watch out for each other.
All right, man. Will do. Let us. I've noticed everyone just saying work harder are the ones who are already sitting pretty and wealthy. Yeah, that could be a fair assessment. 70% of Americans don't have a... Damn, bro. I can't believe that's really a fact. That's insanity, bro. No, that's actually wild, bro. I feel for it. I really feel for it. Like, really, 70% of Americans don't have $1,000 in a bank account. I have more, but scrimped and saved for decades. I ate a turkey sandwich every single day for years. Problem is, most people want luxury things ASAP. Yep, hits credit. So, and that's kind of like, what I was talking about, like the expectation stuff and, financing the lifestyle. I make about 100K a year in Washington State. Have three kids, a 12-year-old car, great credit, and 25K in my bank, but can't find a house I can afford. Yeah, that all. I work 55 hours a week and agree I'm too stressed, tired, worn out to socialize. Don't know any of my neighbors. Been here 5 years. Everyone is cold and sad, actually. All my energy goes into surviving. We will own nothing and be miserable. Damn, man. I mean, the people are talking. Let us continue to roll this beautiful bean footage. Okay, yeah, my guy was already. Life is hard if you were born and raised in Flint, Michigan. Actually, being poor in America is so much worse than being poor in any other country. Okay, let's hear this out. The reason being is the culture. There's not a family unit here or village mentality. Facts, though. This is also the same reason why you have so many people with depression and anxiety here. I guarantee people in the Great Depression were so much happier than the poor of today. I wouldn't guarantee that, but I can see what you're saying because the family unit was a lot tighter back in those days. The most sickest and ruthless part is that these rich elites will blame it on the regular people. Okay. As a foreigner who is very interested in the USA, I see that being poor there is much harder and more dangerous than in Tunisia. Losing your job or missing rent can quickly leave you homeless, exposed to harsh weather, crime, and drug problems. I think the problem is the mix of economic struggles and the loss of family values, creating a culture where everyone is on their own. In Tunisia, even in tough times, family community support and provide a safety net. You're never truly alone. It's not paradise, but there's always some... Yeah, I can see that. It looks like we got someone talking about the tariffs. The tariffs will not work. The problem is the rich who accumulate too much wealth, not the other countries. The rich who accumulate too much wealth. I disagree with that. I don't like that statement. I don't like that. Because, I mean, really, everyone does have the opportunity to be rich. Just the reality is that most people won't actualize it. Because let's be real, most people do fucking complain, bro. Most people aren't very solution based thinkers. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, if we're gonna think about the average person, most people are just gonna complain and all that shit, and they're not very solution based. I'm just throwing that out there. It's just the fact of the reality. Like, and most people aren't willing to do what it really takes and take those risks and that uncertainty to actually, get to the level of the rich. So I wouldn't bag on the rich too much. Because there's a lot of rich people who grew up poor or weren't trust fund babies. Just so you guys know. I'm a 34-year-old man living in California. I work 40 hours a week plus an additional 16 to 24 hours of overtime per week to earn extra income to save for my 401k. Very nice. And set aside a little money. I don't smoke or drink, and I can relate to this video. I don't know my apartment neighbors because I work long hours and can't afford to have a child, where I live in a one-bedroom apartment that starts at $2,000. A two-bedroom costs at $2,800. I make $118,000 a year, which is enough to support myself, but I can't confidently say I could afford to raise a family. Yeah, that's kind of an issue, though. Too many people making $100,000 a year plus saying the same thing. That is a very big issue with cost of living. So hopefully Trump can help and aid with that. Not too sure how he'll do that, but hopefully he does. The USA is 1930s Germany now. All right, I'll leave it at that. Man, hey, I'm very curious to see what you guys got to say. There's a lot of good insight in the comment section here. God damn, 5,000 comments. Sheesh. Well, that being said, it's your boy signing off. I shall catch you guys in the next one. And stay up. That's all you can really do. Stay up and just try to stay positive, God's on your side. If there is a God. At the end of the day, no one really knows. But that could be a cope too. But for now, we'll cope and just say God is on our side. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day, night, morning, afternoon, evening.